Barb. It's the December show for Dover Apothecary. How the heck are you?
I'm great, Dave. How are you?
Good. It feels like I haven't seen you in a while, and it's good to catch up. Yesterday I got your article for the Hub for December, and it's called "Life Heroes: Miracles in the Making." I
Great.
want to get into that today, and I'm going to let you have the floor and get us started.
All righty. So, in my practice over the years, and just in general, growing up over the years, it's always been something that has interested me when you are in the sort of practice of observing other people. Okay, so being quiet within yourself, but observing and truly being interested in other people. And wondering what it is that helps one person overcome what seem insurmountable odds. You just think, how can this many things happen in a person's life? And you still get up and face the day with, you know, enthusiasm or with a determination. And then somebody else seems to get taken out at the knees by something that may not seem nearly as significant. And it's like, what is it within us as people that allows us to gather those resources? And is it trauma from the past? Is it just worn down from life? Is it not having a healthy support network? But what we say to ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, and our belief systems, it actually resonates within the very cells of our bodies, and it governs our overall health, not just mental health, but our physical health and our ability to recover or to be able to overcome even common ailments. So it's a really fascinating thing that I've observed in my practice over the years.
Do you see? That's really interesting because do you see folks? Um, just a little analogy I'm going to use here, and you tell me if I'm on the right track. I remember meeting a guy when I was really young, in my 20s. I was 21. Um, and he said to me, I remember meeting him, and I said, "How are you today?" And he said, "Perfect." And for some reason, that stuck with me.
Yeah.
Like whenever, not every time, but a lot of times when I meet people, they'll say, "Hey, how are you doing today?" "I'm perfect." And it was just how the vitality it provided from him to me, right? And in
Right.
hearing that from somebody who didn't go, "Oh, it's one of those days." And I just
Yeah.
thought that always stuck with me. And I always remember carrying that forward. So when I'm having a bad day or when I get up and I'm like, and then I go to a store and I sit, the person says, "How are you?" And I go, "I'm perfect." I feel better. Like,
Yes.
is it that simple? I'm just asking.
I truly believe that it can be if you actually are backed by enough other things, right?
Okay.
So it's there have to be there's fake it till you make it is what
Right.
people say. But you still can't lie to your body, right?
No.
Your brain still knows the truth. There has to be some degree of foundation that's also supporting, right? And it's not just the mental health, it's not just the emotional or the spiritual connection that you might have or the relationships. I mean, there is the nutrition, there is the good sleep hygiene, the physical hygiene. The nutrition challenge for people has become more and more significant, and the stress associated, I can't speak, dig it out with a shovel here. The difficulties that financially people are experiencing, that is reflecting their purchases for the things that we need to nourish our bodies. So there are a lot of factors, but that overall thought process of understanding when you recognize what your body is telling you is really key. So it's understanding that if you're having a bad day, it's like, okay, did something trigger this? Is there something I can do about this? Does everybody have the ability to do that, do you think?
A lot of great questions because I'm kind of like in your article, and I don't want to give too much away, but that cellular connection to the mental connection, and
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
I really do believe there is something there. Like I honestly
Mhm.
feel that way because
Yep.
if you're mentally strong or mentally feeling great, your body usually comes with you on that. You know what I mean?
It
Like it
it
usually follows
does.
suit and you're able to accomplish a lot of things.
Yep.
But I think if you're tilted the other way a little bit, let's say your body feels okay, but mentally you're not strong, then all of a sudden
Mhm.
those aches and pains seem to grow bigger on you,
Yeah.
right? And like you said, if you challenge that with not having enough nutrition, exercise, or sleep, boy, that path's not healthy at all. So
Nope.
so I
Nope.
get that, and I think like when you're and I don't know, you help me with this because I've seen folks that are maybe battling critical illnesses that it
Mhm.
does not look good. But if they have
Right.
this positive attitude, you know what I mean? You're like,
Mhm.
wow, that's such a
Yeah.
strong person, and that you feel for like there's just something you can pick up that vibe that they're going to get a little bit better. They're on
Right.
the road to recovery.
Right.
Is that am I in the
It's
ballpark?
you are, and I mean, it's very interesting because you'll see some people, if we take cancer as a talking point here, and you'll see some people that seem to sail through their treatments,
Yeah,
despite side effects and things like that. Those are the people that often are using visualization exercises that chemo's going in there like Pac-Man and gobbling up all those errant unhealthy cells. And it's like, well, that's, you know, great analogy, right? If we can have something, regardless of our situation, that we know is on our side to work through those things. But, it's understanding ourselves, ultimately understanding our bodies, that the symptoms, I've written that article before, our symptoms are clues. So what's your body telling you? What does it need? It's all a living, breathing organism, every part of it. So if you understand how to tap into that, if you understand enough about yourself, about the things that help to lift and build you up. For people like myself, it's getting outside. It's if I'm at the computer too long, it's not a good place for me mentally. I need physical activity. I need to go hug a few trees. I need to be in nature. And I know that about myself. I know that I would struggle otherwise if I didn't make that time for those things. I need time with my family, with my husband, with my children, with my grandchildren. I value that. And if I didn't have those connections, so, when we look at somebody that is struggling, what's their circle? Right? It's supportive people. And maybe they didn't even grow up with that. I mean, we all grew up with challenges. Everybody grows up with stuff, but there's something or someone usually that leaves some sort of a mentorship pattern on us, that if that's the person we emulate, that that can resonate with us for the rest of our lives. Maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was a grandparent. And I know I definitely had some magnificent people, despite a lot of crazy stuff growing up, because there was a lot of crap, right?
hmm
But yeah, so I think that at the cellular level, that when you have those sorts of memories, that also resonates with the cells, and those are the things that you desire for yourself, and you're going to find ways to make that happen even when you're at a low point.
I got one more question for you, and I'm going to use a tipping point. And with that, I mean, I think when you talk about, you see these, we were both talking about how we see people rebound from health issues and rebuild and get strong again. But I think there's a tipping point there that we need to talk about because I think when you're mentally and physically at that low point, and if you don't do anything,
Right.
that's it's that's that downhill, that downhill slope. It's can't, you know, it's almost inconceivable to get back. But you got to try. But I think there's the exactly what you said earlier. There's the warning signs, and we're not picking
Mhm.
it up. We're not being aware mentally or physically what's going on with ourselves. And I think
Mm.
that's I don't know. I'm asking you. I guess. Do you believe in a tipping point like that?
I've had tipping points.
Okay. So
Um,
yes, you do.
and I do. I believe, but I also do believe that we aren't given more than we can handle, that we have more resources within us than we realize. I think when people lose their connection, okay, and not just to other people around them, but understanding that we're part of something bigger, okay? And I'm not talking religion, okay, or gods, or but just a universal spiritual connection and being grounded and understanding that we have a part in something much bigger than what we're dealing with right this minute. And that when we do understand that, because how else to explain seeing a horrific car crash that somebody just walks out of, you
Yeah.
know, whereas another one's just a minor little fender bender and it's a tragic outcome. And it's just like, if if we're meant to be here, we're going to be here. But what we do with that being here, that is a choice, right? Those are conscious decisions. And yes, we get feeling pretty beat up sometimes, but we do have it and there are resources, but we have to support ourselves on all levels. We can't expect to eat like crap, to not be sleeping well, to not manage our stress levels properly, and expect our mental health to be good. It's just not going to be. That equation doesn't work because that doesn't nourish the cells. So if we pay attention to our thought processes and we make them healthy, positive thoughts, even if it's just one a day, you don't have to be all unicorns and rainbows and lollipops. Okay. That's not realistic. That's not our world. But you can have things that you can think positively about that you hang on to. Write it down, put it on your fridge, put it on a mirror, put it wherever you have to remind yourself of those good things, those things that you're grateful for. And those things are going to help resonate at the cells for those hard times. But we have to build those things when we're in the good times. Can't take that for granted. And that I think is a critical key element is we have to set those patterns. We have to have those habits that are supportive that we can fall back on because we all, go off and have fun times, but we have to reground ourselves, reconnect, and step back into those patterns before things get too, out there.
One of the, and this my last little thing here I want to share with you was, I remember training and doing a 50-mile race years
Yeah.
ago, and I remember the separation. A lot of people that I talked to that did ultras, sort of getting that groundwork done mentally. One of the
Mhm.
things that was explained to me was that there's one point where your brain will tell your body to stop,
Yeah.
and you have to override it. So you have to be able to separate the two and go, no, I'm gonna keep going. This is
Mhm.
just my brain talking. Um, big lesson, big lesson there for me. That did happen for sure.
Yeah.
And when you got through the other side and you finished it, there's that feeling of accomplishment. But you also
Right.
understand much more deeply about yourself. And I think that's probably the next step for a lot of folks, not to run an ultra by
Mhm.
any means, but when you understand that component, and it's kind of what your whole topic was about, there's a connection there between feeling
Mhm.
good and being your body
Yep.
good. But your
Yep.
brain can also have such a negative effect because
Mhm.
you're so much stronger than you really think you are.
Oh,
Your
everybody is.
capabilities are beyond. And I always tell
Mhm.
people, you know what, when people say, "Oh, I can't do that," it's like, well, yeah, you could. Let's look at
Mhm.
what's holding you back. And usually it's the mental side of it that's holding them
Yep.
back. Physically, they can get in shape and do those things. So I
Yes.
think that along with what you've said today, I just wanted to share that because, man, it like you said, if you got to have all those elements working for you. And when
You
you
do.
do, you feel so good. So
Yep.
folks, got to read Barb's article in the December Hub because it's a great one. I love Life Heroes, Miracles in the Making. I love that title.
And yes, that's awesome. I just think, as a little takeaway, if you have life, you're in training and it's a journey. So
Yes, it is. You're not
make
lying
it a
there.
good one, folks.
Uh, quick, Merry Christmas. Give a shout out to all
Merry
your clients.
Christmas. Merry Christmas. Wishing everybody good health and peace. And let's make this world a better place.